The architectural landscape of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue is currently undergoing its most radical transformation since the Reconstruction following the War of 1812. President Donald Trump has officially unveiled plans for a massive expansion of the White House, centered on a colossal new East Wing ballroom that promises to redefine the executive mansion for the modern era. This ambitious project, scheduled for a formal presentation before the National Capital Planning Commission on January 8, 2025, represents a departure from traditional preservation efforts in favor of a bold, developer-led vision. For decades, the White House has relied on temporary tents and modular structures to host state dinners and large-scale diplomatic gatherings, a solution the president has dismissed as inadequate and unbefitting of a global superpower. The proposed structure is not merely an addition. It is a statement of intent, signaling a shift toward a more grand and permanent hosting capacity. As the administration prepares to show the world the blueprints for this neoclassical edition, the nation watches with a mixture of awe and skepticism. This ballroom is destined to become the centerpiece of the upcoming American Semiquincentennial celebrations, serving as the stage where the world's leaders will gather to mark 250 years of American independence and democracy. The physical reality of the president's vision became undeniable in October 2025, when the original East Wing, a structure with roots dating back to the Jefferson and Theodore Roosevelt administrations, was largely dismantled. This demolition sent shockwaves through the historic preservation community, as the familiar silhouette of the White House changed overnight. The administration justifies this drastic measure by pointing to the functional limitations of the old wing, which was never designed to handle the logistical demands of 21st century security and hospitality. By clearing the site, the project moves from the realm of theory into a tangible construction phase that is set to accelerate rapidly. Following the January presentation, foundation work is scheduled to commence in the winter of 2026, with the primary above-ground structural elements rising by the spring of that same year. The speed of the project reflects the president's background in high-stakes real estate development, where momentum is often used to overcome regulatory hurdles and public pushback. While the site currently looks like a sprawling industrial zone, the White House insists that the temporary chaos is a necessary precursor to a magnificent rebirth that will eventually harmonize with the timeless elegance of the North and South porticos. To understand the magnitude of this project, one must look at the staggering dimensions proposed in the official filings. The new East Wing Ballroom is projected to encompass approximately 90,000 square feet, a figure that is nearly double the size of the entire existing White House complex, which stands at roughly 55,000 square feet. This expansion will allow the executive mansion to host up to 650 seated guests in a single, climate-controlled, high-security environment, eliminating the need for the unsightly tent cities that have characterized state visits for generations. Critics argue that such a massive footprint will fundamentally dwarf the historic character of the original residence, effectively turning a historic home into a commercial-scale convention center. However, supporters of the plan suggest that the White House has always been an evolving structure, adapted by various presidents to meet the needs of their time. By expanding the East Wing so significantly, the administration claims it is future-proofing the building for centuries to come. The scale is not just about floor space. It is about the capacity for American soft power. A larger ballroom means larger delegations, more international press, and a more imposing backdrop for the signing of treaties and the hosting of the world's most influential dignitaries. Perhaps the most unique and controversial aspect of the ballroom project is its unconventional funding model. President Trump has publicly estimated the total cost of construction at approximately $400 million, and he has pledged that this sum will be covered entirely through personal funds and contributions from private donors. This gift to the nation approach bypasses the traditional congressional appropriations process, which would have likely tied the project up in years of partisan budget battles and oversight hearings. While the White House frames this as a way to save taxpayer money, it has opened a Pandora's box of legal and ethical questions. Democratic lawmakers have already launched several investigations, seeking to understand the identities of the private donors and whether their contributions constitute a form of pay-to-play influence over the executive branch. The use of private money for a public federal landmark is almost unprecedented on this scale, leading to concerns about who truly owns the legacy of the new wing. Despite these inquiries, the administration remains firm, arguing that the president is using his unique resources to enhance the national heritage without placing a financial burden on the American public during a time of complex economic shifts and global uncertainty. The upcoming January 8th hearing before the National Capital Planning Commission is a critical milestone for the project, though the commission's actual authority remains a point of intense debate. Historically, the NCPC has a significant say in the development of the nation's capital, yet the White House has navigated the process with a combination of legal maneuvering and executive assertiveness. Previously, the commission declined to review the demolition of the old East Wing, a move that allowed the bulldozers to move in while the public was still debating the merits of the plan. The January meeting is officially described as an information presentation, which suggests that the White House is seeking to inform rather than ask for permission. This strategy has frustrated local planning advocates and urban historians who believe the project should be subject to the same rigorous environmental and historical impact studies as any other federal building. However, the administration's legal team argues that the president's authority over the executive grounds provides significant leeway in how construction proceeds. This tension between federal oversight and executive will is a recurring theme of the Trump era, and the Ballroom project has become a physical manifestation of that ongoing power struggle within the heart of the district. The most vocal opposition to the Ballroom has come from the National Trust for Historic Preservation, an organization dedicated to protecting America's architectural legacy. They have filed a comprehensive lawsuit to halt the construction, arguing that the project violates the spirit, if not the letter, of the National Historic Preservation Act. Their primary concern is that a 90,000 square foot addition will irrevocably alter the visual proportions of the White House, which is arguably the most famous residence in the world. They contend that the Palladian and neoclassical designs promised by the White House are merely a facade that hides a massive, modern structure that is out of sync with the original James Hoban design. In December, a federal judge declined to issue a temporary restraining order to stop the work, citing the fact that the final specifications had not been fully realized or made public. This makes the January presentation even more pivotal, as it will provide the evidence the court needs to decide if the project causes irreparable harm to a national landmark. The preservationists are not just fighting for a building. They are fighting for the principle that even the president must respect the historical integrity of the nation's shared symbols. President Trump, whose name is synonymous with gold leaf towers and grand hospitality, has brought a specific aesthetic philosophy to the White House expansion. He has frequently spoken about sprucing up the Capitol, which he views as having become stagnant or drab over the years. The proposed ballroom is expected to feature high ceilings, ornate moldings, and a level of opulence that reflects the president's personal brand. While the official renderings suggest a neoclassical exterior intended to blend with the existing stone, the interior is rumored to be far more lavish than the understated elegance of the West Wing or the traditional state floor. This architectural clash represents a broader cultural debate about what the White House should represent. Is it a humble people's house that reflects the modest roots of a republic, or is it a palace of state that should reflect the power and wealth of the world's leading economy? By choosing a grand, developer-inspired design, the president is leaning heavily into the latter. The ballroom is designed to be a high-definition, television-ready space, optimized for the cameras and the global stage, ensuring that every event held within its walls conveys a message of American strength, prosperity, and unapologetic grandeur. The driving force behind the aggressive construction schedule is the fast-approaching 250th anniversary of the United States in July 2026. The administration has positioned the new East Wing as the primary venue for the Great Celebration, a series of events intended to dwarf the bicentennial of 1976. The president envisions a year-long festival of American achievement, with the White House Ballroom serving as the hub for visiting kings, queens, and heads of state. This deadline has been used to justify the bypass of various bureaucratic delays, as the White House argues that the building must be ready to receive the world by the summer of 2026. The Semiquincentennial is not just a birthday for the country. For this administration, it is a rebranding opportunity. By linking the ballroom project to this historic milestone, the president has made the construction a matter of national pride and patriotic urgency. This framing makes it politically difficult for opponents to slow down the project without appearing to undermine the national celebration. Whether the ballroom can be completed to a high standard in such a short time frame remains to be seen, but the pressure of the 2026 clock is the primary engine driving the construction crews. The ballroom project has become a lightning rod in an already polarized Washington. Beyond the architectural and historical concerns, the political implications are profound. Democratic leaders in the House and Senate have raised alarms about the privatization of the White House. They argue that by allowing anonymous donors to fund a federal building, the administration is creating a secret channel for influence that bypasses the public's right to know. There are ongoing calls for a special prosecutor or an independent commission to audit the White House construction fund, but the administration has dismissed these efforts as partisan harassment. The project has also sparked a debate about the role of the General Services Administration and the National Park Service, which typically manage White House grounds. Many career officials in these agencies have reportedly been sidelined in favor of a small team of loyalists and private contractors directly reporting to the East Wing. This shift in management style reflects the broader disruptor approach of the Trump presidency, where traditional institutional norms are often viewed as obstacles to be cleared. As the 2025 legislative session begins, the ballroom will likely be a central theme in oversight hearings and a focal point for political fundraising on both sides. Ultimately, the East Wing Ballroom project will be a defining feature of Donald Trump's legacy as the 45th and 47th president. Just as Thomas Jefferson added the colonnades and Harry Truman reconstructed the interior to save it from collapse, Trump will be remembered for the massive expansion that transformed the White House into a venue of unprecedented scale. If successful, the ballroom will be a testament to his ability to execute large-scale projects through sheer force of will and private capital. If it fails to live up to its promises, or if the legal challenges eventually mount, it could become a symbol of executive overreach and the erosion of historic norms. As the January 8th hearing approaches, the nation is on the verge of seeing the final vision for a project that has already changed the face of American power. The construction cranes currently towering over the South Lawn are a reminder that the White House is a living, breathing entity, constantly being reshaped by the individuals who inhabit it. Whether one views the new ballroom as a magnificent gift or a tragic mistake, there is no denying that it will stand for generations as a monument to a unique and transformative era in the history of the American presidency.